your home for Northeast Ohio soccer. This is Breaking Lanes.
Welcome back to another edition of the Breaking Lanes podcast. I'm your host, Logan Congrove, and joining me today is a very special guest from the University of Akron and the Akron Zips men's soccer team, recently drafted into the MLS, but is returning for one more season with the Zips, Mr. Remi Agunbiade. Remi, thank you for taking the time today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Before we get started, just wanted to address all of our current sponsors: Island Tanning Salon, ND Construction LLC, TNT Mobile Detailing, Ohio Euro Motor Cars, and we are also streaming on WAOH TV out of Akron, Ohio, and of course, Kronis Academy, our filming location. Remi, let's jump right into it. Talk about when you were growing up in Toronto, what got you into the game of soccer, and how have you been able to grow coming from Canada to the United States?
Probably say my mom. She was a big soccer fan coming in. She's Portuguese, so obviously I have a little bit of that flair. But I would say that, and just for the love of the game, I was introduced to it very young. I was probably say around 4 years old when I first started kicking a soccer ball, and then from there I just kept progressing and just kept falling in love every single day. And that's what led me to come here.
What did you do in your youth? What types of teams did you play for? And would you say that the youth soccer scene in Canada is different than it is in America?
Oh, I would say so for sure. I played a local club called King City. That was my first ever club. It was like kind of like rep, so just below any like high level. And then from there, I had a trial with TFC, a few other academies. And I just felt like my fit wasn't really in academy. So I went to another team called Vaughn. And from there, it kind of introduced me to a lot of American teams because we'd go to the U.S. to play tournaments. And I got like a feel and a look for how the Americans play. And it was really good. And I felt like I could fit there when it came to college.
How did you make yourself stand out in the recruiting process? When Akron came to find you, what was that like looking for a college to come play in America?
I would say it had to do a lot with one of my coaches. His name is Jeffrey Valsies. He has a agency called Future Stars, and it's a combine where a lot of players go there to get looks from clubs all over the world. And I felt like we had this one combine, and I did really, really well. And I got looks from Akron, which was Jared and Jer. And we had another one called Sigma Showcase. And that was a really, really good tournament. I played good. I scored a few goals. And then from there, I think they offered me to come over to the school, and I took it right away.
Talk about what it's meant working with an organization like Future Stars. I've heard that as well. How did they find you, and what type of benefits has it brought for you?
It's been great benefits, honestly. I found the club very, very young. The coach was actually the head organizer was my coach when I was younger. So he kind of just shadowed me, kept me a part of him, and then I just kind of grew as he was coaching and just followed along with what he wanted me to do. And I felt like he had an eye for me, and he could see that there was a lot of skill that I had that a lot of people didn't really see at the time. So I just had trust in him, and it helped me out.
What was your recruiting process like? Were other schools reaching out to you, and what made you zero in on the University of Akron?
Well, yeah, I had a few other schools, but I just felt like distance-wise, Akron was close to home, only like 6 hours from Toronto. And I just felt like a natural presence when I walk on campus. I felt like, this is a not too big of a campus as well. It's a very lovely, organized place. So I just felt like, you know what, Akron could be the place for me, and I'm happy I took it.
Without giving away any program secrets, what was your recruiting process like when you came to Akron on a visit? How did that go? What did you get to experience? What did you get to see? And what would you say was really the seller when you got done with meeting with the coaches, seeing everything? What was the thing that made you say, yes, I'm signing?
I came around December, so it was full of snow. There was nothing, like you couldn't really see the pitch too much. The training ground was full of snow. There was nobody on campus, but just going around in walks with the coaches, like, for me, I don't really like being in places where it's too big.
Sure.
I just like, a very low-key place. And I felt like, going around, they had Chipotle, which was like, something that I like. So
that was a seller for you?
I think so. Could be that or the Panda Express. Could be that. So those two were just, food-wise, I love food. And just the overall feel, like the coaches were very welcoming. I didn't really feel like I was away from home when I was. So
give your food reviews on the University of Akron. Where does Remi Agunbiade eat on a weekly basis?
Okay. Say number one is probably this new spot. It's called I think it called not the market. Oh my gosh, Times Square. That deli place. That's my favorite by far. But before that, I'd probably say Freshens and Chipotle.
Good spots. Good spots. Sure. Definitely a good seller for the University of Akron is the food. Talk about your experience so far with the program. I actually, before we get into that, I heard that on your signing day, a little birdie told me that you were given a hat from the University of Akron, and that made you sign right there. Can that be confirmed or denied?
I would, you know what? That could be confirmed. That could be confirmed. That could be confirmed. Yeah, I did get a hat. They gave it to my dad. My dad was there, and he was like looking at it. We're in the car. And he's like, you know what? They're giving you hats. They're giving you scarves. So might as well just go. I say, you know,
that's awesome.
I probably will.
Talk about when you got to the university. What was the transition like from being in Canada to your first couple times being around the university and playing for the Zips?
I would say the level was not what I expected. It was very, very high, very physical. Again, very like a lot of guys that are just like wanting to play, very hungry. And we had that in Canada, but I think the level there's a lot of more exposure here in the US. There's a lot of more like drive for their players, a lot of more money. So I felt like with that, it was kind of hard to adjust at first, but getting the rhythm, seeing how the guys work, because again, Akron's a very, very good team. You know, it was easy to kind of like just wiggle through and have guys like Emil Yashkalainen or Dyson or Malik or these older guys to like look up to my first year when I was there to be like, okay, this is what I got to do when it'll be my turn to play.
Talk about the leadership from some of those older guys. You mentioned Emil, Malik, Dyson. What did that mean to you, especially coming from another country to an experience you've never been a part of, to have those type of players be able to mentor you?
Yeah, it was amazing, honestly. My first year, we had those guys that I mentioned, and like guys like Beto, Kuz, Victor, all these guys, Mitch, everybody like that. And I felt like just looking up to them, they were very, very confident. They had this type of presence that they're like, you know what, I play for Akron. Yeah, they on my chest. So, it comes with a lot of responsibility. And I felt like I wanted to have those responsibilities on my own. I wanted to be able to wear that badge and have the honor that they did. And then last year, which the year that we had, I felt like it had to do a lot with just guys like Dara as well, and just those big present players.
Talk about what it means to wear the A. Obviously, you mentioned the culture aspect of playing for the program, and it's been a huge deal, especially around here for many, many years. University of Akron, obviously, with one of the strongest collegiate programs in Division I. When you came over and you are now wearing the A, you're a little bit more experienced now. Talk about the culture within the program.
It's unreal. I think there's a standard that Akron has that every year we have to keep on getting more and more and more, achieving higher. And I feel like it's only right that we just keep going up. And with the success that we had and the success that they had years before with the national championship in 2010, I feel like it's only right that you are in this environment, and the type of mindset you have is that you want to get better and you want to bring something back to the environment that's used to winning. So I feel like that's probably one of the biggest things for me.
What would you say the transition was like from year one to year two for you?
Biggest transition? I think it was just mentality wise. Like, again, my first year, I didn't really play too much. I had to get a feel for it. But my second year, I knew when I had the opportunity, coaches, they had trust in me. I knew I was going to go out there and perform. And I feel like the year that we had, it was amazing. Like, there was a lot of highs, a lot of lows. But I feel like with all of that combined, it was a great experience to have.
Talk about playing for the staff that's currently at Akron. You obviously have Coach Embeck, who just signed an extension with the Zips, as well as Jer. You have Mike Nanchoff, who's been on here as well on Breaking Lanes. Attila. You have training staff like Kenna. What's it like to have such a cohesive staff that really supports their players?
It's amazing. And one thing I have to credit is just the diversity. We have Coach Mike, who's very on top of us, very vocal, very loud. And then we have Coach Jared, who's very understanding and very like technical about stuff like he does. And then we just have Jared, like the headmaster of just everything, like, puts the pieces together. And then even our coaching staff with Attila, he's an analysis with like crossing stats and all that stuff. And Coach Kenna and our Draper and like all these people who come together to just, formulate something which is like a family here. And I feel like having them as well, it's good to have, because might be some times where you feel a little bit lonely. You can talk to one coach, sometimes you might be upset, you can talk to the other one. So it's like having that balance of good and like maybe sometimes good cop, bad cop, which is one thing I love a lot.
What would you say your favorite thing that Coach Embick puts upon your team is, like, whether that's a culture thing, a training session you guys do? What is the best thing about playing for Coach Embick?
I say the best thing is the consistency that he is. Like every session we have, every game we have, he has an idea of what he wants his players to do. And he has a picture of how we should be doing it. And not a lot of coaches are able to have a picture and put it out in person for their players to follow. And I feel like one thing with him, it's the respect that we all have for him and the other coaching staff. It's like we want to follow everything to a T, and we want to go above and beyond, because we know that if he trusts us, we can trust him, because he's been in positions where he's been in Final Fours, been in finals, won a national championship.
And talking about this past season, before we talk about this upcoming year, Akron made an Elite Eight run, had all the games at home. First, let's touch on that. What was it like having an Elite Eight run, all the games played at home, and something a lot of teams really don't get to experience?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. We had just wonderful atmosphere, the crowd, the noise, the people, the students, everybody. It was truly amazing, honestly. I haven't felt like that playing with that much like urgency and eager in my life. So it was amazing.
Which game out of the run would you say was your favorite, and why?
I probably have to say Duke because I scored too. So I'm going to say Duke, but yeah, I'm just going to say Duke. I'm going to say Duke, but all games were fun, especially the Notre Dame with Paiba's game winner. And then we had, I think, the St. Louis when we lost, but just that round of that roller coaster ride, being up, being down, it was nice, but for sure, Duke.
Talk about that goal. Your ball finds it back in the net against Duke. What was going through your head? How excited were you, and how were you able to carry the urgency throughout the rest of the game once you found the back of the net?
Yeah, the first goal, which was the corner kick from Tyler Morkey, wonderful ball. And then I just seen it, and I said, I gotta do something, because it's like kind of falling in front of me. So I just put my left foot out. Some people say it was a deflection. Some people say it wasn't. I just seen the ball in the net, so I just started going crazy. And then with that momentum, we were really on them. And then the second half came, and then we scored, I think, maybe 10, 15 minutes after, I think. And that goal was nice. The dribble from Sully to slip Jack Roman in, and then he took a shot, hit off the post. And I was there to pick up the second ball and then the score. It was a really good feeling. It was really good.
Even though we weren't able to pull out the win against St. Louis, talk about when you came into that Elite Eight game, what was the preparation like, and how did you feel that the Zips were ready for that game?
I think that week leading up to the game, we were phenomenal. We were like working on stuff that we needed improvement and I feel like we executed that good. And I just feel like with the game, it was unlucky. When you go into a game like that, up 2-0 in the first half, like your mind's all over the place. And I feel like we were at a really steady level, but I think we also dropped a little bit in the second half, and that's when they kind of had momentum. And then the first goal, then the second goal, and then it was kind of like nerves, and we had the red card, which was unfortunate. But again, it's football, so there's going to be stuff like that. It was just sad that we lost at home, but I'm sure that next year leading up, it'll be a different story.
How does a training session differ from the regular season and the postseason, if they do at all?
I would say in the postseason, it's more, I guess, like team-based. So I would say we do a lot of scouting, a lot of preparation. And you're talking about the postseason, like tournament season, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I would say a lot of like looking at film, a lot of studying how teams are, but as well as like our strengths, because we have a lot of strengths. So we just want to fine-tune that to the best we can. I'd say probably it's probably the same. I would say about the same, to be honest.
What is a typical training session like at the University of Akron with the Zips?
So we start off with a fun warm-up. We have Coach Kenna. We do our usual circuit. And after that, we'll go in with Mike. We'll do some passing or some dribbling, and then either a rondo grid or just something to wake us up, to get us moving. And then we'll have Coach Jared just put us through maybe fundamentals. Some days might be mini games. It really just depends how he's feeling.
What do you like the most when it comes to training?
What do I like the most?
I see you having fun out there a lot.
I would say honestly, the rondo grid. When we play rondos, I like that a lot. So I'll be all over the place. I used to do it with Jamai, Paeva, and I think there was a time where it was with Logan, and you get the youngest in the middle. So, Logan's in there, and we'll have him in there for a good amount of passes. So it was nice. I would say that's my favorite.
How would you say you've grown as a leader from coming in as a freshman to now you're on the older side of the team? How do you feel that your role has changed within the team?
Honestly, I'd say with trust. It's definitely trust. The coaches being able to see growth, because my first year of college, I'd say me and my other freshmen had a lot of fun, and it's good to have fun, but as well as you got to have that balance. And I feel like this year the balance was more soccer and school-wise than fun. And I feel like when they notice that, then you notice that as well. And just like the maturity-wise, the maturity aspect of it, you just I guess grow up, but also like you still want to keep your personality. So I would say that's about it.
Sure. Talk about the stance of being a student athlete in the sense of how do you balance your work with your play, and how often do you have to make decisions where you know that you have to set the standard as a student? Obviously, Zips men's soccer has a really strong background of also having strong students in the classroom, let alone on the field. So talk about how you balance being a student and a student athlete.
I think it's just staying on top of your work, doing it before the due date, obviously. But I feel like if you have an assignment that's due next week, you might as well just get it out the way the week before. I like to just be ahead of school just so I don't have to worry about it, because we have enough going on. Like, we have hard sessions, we got training, then you got your body as well. Like, after training, you're going to feel tired. Sure. So you don't want to have to worry about going to class and having like, oh, I'm behind in school, or, oh, is there a test? Just being on top of your school before you have the date is it's just so much better.
And looking ahead on the soccer side to next season for the Zips, obviously the schedule has not been released yet. You may know some of the opponents, but we won't touch on that just yet because they do want you to come out to Zips men's soccer games this fall. But talk about what you guys have been thinking heading into the 2026-27 season, obviously coming off an Elite Eight berth. How are you guys training to get back that level and exceed that level?
I think it's going to be a new culture. We have a new team, like probably maybe 50% of the team is new. So I think the standard that we have, it's just, I guess, improving that, just like looking at small details and stuff that we need to do to make sure that the year that we had last year, which was very successful, it's a good standard, but it's something that we know we got to go further, right? We finished at Elite Eight, but I feel like with this squad, with the coaching, with everything this year, I feel like we can definitely bring back a national championship.
What would you say the biggest jump that your team is looking to make is this year? Obviously, winning a national championship is the ultimate goal. In terms of preparation and how you guys have been working to get to that point with all the newcomers, how are you preparing the newcomers to help you guys make that jump?
I think just talking to them, where we're trying to get very close with our team, and we're doing so, like, we're hanging out and stuff like that, doing fun activities. But I also think with them as well, like, we have guys on this new team who are just very hungry. Like, you can see it in training, you can see how they prepare, how they feel, and it's good to have, because you want to have people who are in line with you and you want to win. And I feel like what we have is a group of people who are willing to do a lot to win, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that's gonna help us all.
What's your favorite team bonding activity that you guys do?
Favorite team bonding? I would say it's like whenever we mess up, we neck the person. And that some people get mad, some people, it is what it is. But I think that's a good team bonding, because it's like you can laugh it off, right?
Sure.
It might hurt in the moment and you want to punch your teammate, but honestly, we're brothers. So, sometimes you might have to. I think that's probably one of the most underrated ones in my favor.
When did that start? How did it start?
I think this might have started when I had a house. It was me, Jamai, Jose, Aliaj, Abdi, and whenever we do something stupid, we would just smack each other hard. And I think we started doing that outside of the house, and like some of the other guys would see it, and it was just something fun. And then it just began to like grow and grow, and then before you know it, you have guys like Lincoln necking people, and you have like, you're looking around like you're kind of nervous, you don't want to get hit, but at the same time, it's like one of those where it's like it's fun, makes you laugh, makes you smile.
Talk about this spring season. Obviously, you didn't get to play as much as you were nursing an injury, which we'll touch on that first. How's your recovery going, and are you going to be ready for the 2026-27 campaign?
For sure, without a doubt. And I feel like with all this preparation and stuff like that, it's gonna be 10 times better, 10 times hungrier.
Talk about what you saw out of your team, whether you were on the field for the first little bit of it or watching from the sideline while nursing your injury. What did you see out of the team this spring that you think has been successful and will help you guys leading into the season?
I would say attacking wise, we've been unreal. Defending wise, we've been amazing. It's hard. Like, we're just an overall good squad, right? So I feel like we have new guys coming on the field, and we have new faces who really want to make a name for themselves. And I feel like that's what you need. You need guys who want to come on the pitch to do greatness, or maybe start, maybe not start. But I feel like with this new squad in the spring, attacking wise, we were nice. We had Nacho, who scored an unreal amount of goals. We had guys like AB come off the bench. We had Pharrell, another 9, going in there performing really, really good. Thomas O'Rourke, unreal. Jack Roman, Tyler Moore, Sully. I can name the whole team. So I think that's one thing I'm happy about. That's going to be very strong.
Looking ahead for you, you were drafted in the second round of this year's MLS Super Draft by San Diego FC. You're staying another year at the University of Akron. What played into that decision for you? And then we'll talk a little bit about the draft experience.
I think what played into it is the fact that I wasn't really able to go at the time that I was anticipating, which was early January, until I realized I had this injury that I had to take care of first. So I feel like with that, my mind was, okay, let me recover. I want to be at tip-top shape from when I go to San Diego. And I feel like I just needed this spring to get healthy and stuff like that, to be able to go there and stay. But as well as, I feel like with the success that we had last semester, it's only right to come back for one more opportunity to, finish the job.
Absolutely. What was the Super Draft experience like for you? What did you do? Were you around your friends, or were you just... How does it work? I feel like everybody we've had on that has been a part of the Super Draft has a completely different experience. What was your experience like?
My experience was unreal. It was crazy. I broke my phone. So I was at the mall with my family to get a new phone, and we were there for like hours. And I remember I was like, all right, everybody, I'm going to shut off the new phone because I got to return it to be able to buy this new one. So I went completely ghost for the day. And then I bought the new phone. Turn it on, put my SIM card in, put my password, all that stuff, logged into Instagram, and I'm getting spam, like, congratulations. And I'm like, congratulations for what? Like, I'm confused what's going on. And then I check my phone, and then there it was, drafted to San Diego. And I was like, wow, that's unreal. So it was a surprise. Honestly, I had no clue.
Have you had any conversations with San Diego since you were drafted?
Yes, I have. And their season's doing pretty well. I'm really excited to be able to go over there soon.
What are you looking forward to the most about playing at that level after your time at Akron?
I think the most thing is, it's a childhood dream. Like, every kid wants to go pro. Every kid has that dream of, making it. And with that dream, I feel like San Diego, it's the opportunity for me to go there and just turn my dream into reality.
What are you going to do this season with Akron to be able to prepare to play at that next level? Obviously, you have a coach on your staff that's played at that level, won an MLS ring. Have you had conversations with him about playing at the level, or anyone on your staff, whether that's Jared, Jer, Attila, Mike? Have you had conversations about what you need to do personally to prepare to take that step?
We have. I've had meetings with the coaches. We've all of them have been in the room with me, and we've just been talking about, like, the best options for me, the best things for me to do, to improve on, and as well as my trainer, Coach Kenna. I've been with her pretty much every single day, just trying to get my body physically fit, my mind right, and everything.
Have you had any conversations with guys that are already at that level? Like, you can mention Emil, you can mention Shuki, you can mention now Stefan Dobrevich was drafted with you as well, to Austin. Have you had conversations with guys who have already stepped into that environment to kind of get a sense of what you're walking into after the season?
Yeah, definitely. I spoke to Stefan not too long ago. Being at that level where he's at in Austin, he's telling me like, the levels, it's really, really good, obviously, to be able to play pro, but it's also something that's achievable. Like anybody watching, anybody here could definitely be at a place where they can be pro. It's just how you are as a person. You just got to be able to believe in yourself.
What are you going to be doing this upcoming summer? I know you mentioned you might be playing a little bit out there. What are you doing to train this summer for the Akron season and as well as to get more acclimated for San Diego once it's time?
I think the biggest thing is just running. I like to run, but I feel like you could do more running. So I'm getting just fitness wise, because once you're fit, you have more confidence because you know you can go above and beyond. And I feel like that's probably the biggest thing, which is just getting your body right and your mind right to be able to play.
Are you excited for your family to be able to come out to San Diego?
Yes, I'm excited. Show them the beaches and stuff like that. It'll be nice. And some food, some In-N-Out burger, because I didn't know that they only had it in California. So I was like, okay.
You've never had it?
Never in my life I've had it.
I've had it one time. You'll be excited.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's definitely worth the hype.
Seeing all the TikToks and stuff like that. It might be a mukbanger. You never know.
Never know.
Might have to.
So let's talk a little bit more about this upcoming season for Akron before we get ready to close out. Remi, obviously a huge goal to achieve. You want to get back to a national championship. Talk about what you and your team are doing in order to prepare for that goal.
I think we have a really good preparation. We're starting this new culture, like I mentioned, just this sense of like wanting to win. I feel like that's what it is. Whenever you want to achieve something, you got to have this mentality that you want to win, that you want to be the best. And with every single day we go into training, even captain's training, the type of intensity that we have with each other, the type of way we're like on each other, just about simple things, I feel like that's going to come a long way to be able to win a national championship.
How do you view the level of competition within the Big East this season?
It's good, honestly. I feel like, I think how many we had, what 3 Big East teams playing the national tournament, I think. That's honestly really, really good. Coming from the MAC to be able to transition to the Big East and play in that level and be able to beat teams and win back-to-back regular season championships like Akron's doing really, really well. And to get to the Elite Eight, that's a bonus. So I feel like the Big East is definitely a really, really good conference.
Now that your team's more acclimated with the Big East, what was it like taking that jump from the MAC to the Big East in your first season?
I think what it was not a lot of people were expecting us to do well in the Big East. You're coming from the MAC, which some people might say, oh, it's Mid-American, whatever. But the fact that we're Akron just says it alone. We're gonna, wherever we might be ACC, Big Ten, doesn't matter. Like, we're gonna be there to win, and that's just how we were. And I feel like that's what gave us that push to win back-to-back, regular season championships and to get far into this year, win the Big East tournament and then go again to win the national championship.
What's it like going through the process of the Big East tournament? When you enter that tournament, how do you view each game going forward and keep your mentality up to try and get all the way to the regular season championship?
It's like a cup final, right? Every single team wants to beat you. Every team sees you as like, okay, you beat Akron, like, you're doing well for your program. And I feel like having that pressure adds on to the fact that you can't lose, you can't, play to the level that you're not supposed to. You have to go above and beyond. And with that pressure, I feel like it makes us better. And we have this view on ourselves that, we're not going to be beat. And when you have that view and you have that confidence, then you're going to go into games wanting to go above and beyond.
Every other team at Akron's rival is Kent. Something unique about soccer is Kent does not have a men's soccer program. So I asked Mike this question. I'll ask you the same one. Who would you view the men's soccer biggest rival as? Obviously, you prepare for every game like it's the same. But if you were to go into a game, who would you view Akron's biggest rival as, because it's not Kent for men's soccer?
Biggest rival? Probably say OSU, Ohio State. Yeah, I'm going to say Ohio State for sure. I remember my first year, they beat us on our home field 2-0. And then last year, we went to their home field and beat them 2-0. So I feel like if we were to verse them again this year, we're not losing ever again.
is what makes it Ohio State being the rival. Obviously, you play them year to year, but what makes it in your head and your team's head the rival Ohio State? And again, I'll mention, obviously, you prepare for the same every game, no matter what, but some games obviously more intense than others.
I think because of the name, I think that's it. Ohio State's a really good team, and they have a lot of guys there who are very, very aggressive, who are that kind of have that same mindset as us.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we're both Ohio. They're all OSU. We're Akron. We're a big school. We both won national championships, so we know what it feels like. And I feel like with that, it's only right that we make sure Ohio's blue at all times.
That's awesome. When you are, talk about a little bit about off-season training. What do you do in your downtime to make sure that you are still ready to go for whether that's spring or fall season?
I'm gonna say in the down season, one thing we're lucky to have is, again, Coach Kenna, she gives us these packets with workouts and stuff like that. So we're always just doing something active. I feel like the best way to prepare is to already be prepared. So, having that off season and still working on your body and your mind to get ready to when we are in season, you're already a few steps more than other people who would usually just take that time to go out party and stuff like that.
What's your favorite, couple questions before we close out. One, what's your favorite Coach Embick saying?
My favorite Coach Embick saying, I think he starts off every conversation and every meeting with look guys, he always says that. And I love it because it's like a staple. He's gonna say it, and it's just one of those things that we have in the locker room that it's it's nice to hear.
What's your favorite Coach Mike saying?
Coach Mike?
If it's allowed to be said.
Okay. Now I can change it. Probably when he says next place, playing soccer, you're gonna make mistakes, right? In life, you're gonna make mistakes. Mm-hmm. But having that next play mentality to okay, just go above that hurdle and just keep going. I think that's one thing I like a lot.
What about Coach Jer?
Coach Jer? I always say everything he says because he's Irish, he has an accent, and man, I love Coach Jer. He's just such a funny person to be around and stuff like that. I have to say everything. I'm gonna be honest. There's everything he says.
And Coach Attila.
Coach Attila, my guy, Coach Attila. Wow, this is hard. Coach Attila. I don't really know, cause it's the same thing with Jared. He just speaks. When he speaks, you listen and stuff like that. Cause he doesn't really speak too much. But I don't know. I think it's his presence. I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes it's their presence more than their words, honestly. So I'll just say that. Yeah.
What's your pitch to Zips fans to come out to games this season? Whether that's students, people buying season tickets, why should people come watch you this season?
I feel like people should come watch us this season because this season is definitely going to be something that Akron hasn't seen before. I feel like with this new, I've been speaking about this whole podcast, this new culture that we have. I feel like people are gonna want to see the type of fight that we have, the type of hunger that we have, the type of entertainment that we're gonna bring out to every single game, and we're gonna want to do so much that people are gonna, let's go back to another Akron game. But I feel like with that first game that they come to, it's gonna be a staple of what's more to come.
And Remi, before we close out, where can people find you? Obviously, you're kind of a social media guy too. You take some pictures. You always have good captions on your stuff. Where can people find you to follow your journey when you transition from Akron to the MLS?
You can follow my Instagram. It's Remi Agunbiade, my name. Or honestly, if you see me out and about in school, you can say hi. I'm not a scary person, I don't think. And probably that deli place. Times Square Deli.
Free advertising for the Times Square Deli. All right, Remi, before we close out, I like to give everybody a chance to thank people that have been along their soccer journey. So now's the time. Anybody you want to thank or speak on throughout your journey as a soccer player?
Yeah, I'd probably say first, I just want to say my family, my mom, my dad, my sisters, my coaches that I've had, every single coach, Jeffrey, to my coach from when I was a young kid at Rep. So just all of that, the Akron staff, you guys for allowing me to come here, and my teammates, and that's it.
Awesome. Remi, thank you so much for taking the time
Of
to
course,
be on
boss.
today.
Thank
Go
you so
Zits.
much.
We're excited for your upcoming season and excited for your future with San Diego. This has been another episode of the Breaking Lanes podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Logan Congrove. We'd like to again thank all of our sponsors, ND Construction LLC, TNT Mobile Detailing, Island Tan Salon, and Ohio Euro Motor Cars. Also, our location sponsor, Kronis Academy, our producer, Robby Vallarelli, and the Visual Kingdom, Dan Groen, our associate producer, and all of you for watching. So thank you again, and we will see you next time.
Jeez. First ever podcast, bro. Holy. Hope I did a good job.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody that's been on this
Do you want to do the picture first, or yours?
Anywhere you want.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, make this better. Caralho.